thanks for watching another episode of LBEB Kitchen. We're going to make some Hoosier steaks today. It's a type of steak that's got its roots in Indiana, specifically the Indiana County Fair. So it's basically a ribeye that's cut lengthwise in half. It's supposed to go on a sandwich. I'm going to make a little dry rub for it today, but it is a thinner steak, as you can see. It's a ribeye that's cut in half. So it's going to be a little bit thinner than a normal ribeye. Typically, you want to rub on steaks that are about 3/4 of an inch thick. This is about closer to 1/4, so I'm not going to apply a huge rub, but it is going to be enough to get some good flavor out of it. So, before I make the rub, I want to talk about a few things regarding grilling. So grilling is a privilege, not a right. If you don't know how to grill, you shouldn't grill. Here's some basic things that I like to think of when I grill. Number one, when you make steak, you need to leave it out for at least 20 minutes before you grill it. Otherwise, you're going to get a steak that's nice and crisp on the outside, and no matter how long you grill it, the inside's going to be cold and really red. So, leave the steaks out about 20 minutes before grilling. Number two is salt. I watch a lot of Food Network. I love watching cooking shows, and the number one thing that they tell contestants on these cooking competitions is you need more salt. Salt is the number one seasoning on earth. I don't care what you say, salt makes everything taste better. Too much salt, not so good, but salt is necessary for grilling. Put the salt with the rub before you grill. Number three, leave your meat alone. How many times do you flip on the grill? Once. If it's still stuck to the grill, it's not ready to flip yet. If it starts to come up a little bit and doesn't have anything stuck to the grill, that's time to flip. About 5 minutes per side on a high heat is all you need. Number four, I think this is the most important. After your meat is done, let it sit. Don't cut it open because all the juices are just going to run on your plate. If you let it sit for about 5 to 15 minutes, the juices are going to get mingled back in with the rest of the meat versus having all of your steak juice out on the plate. So, let's make that dry rub. So we're going to start with our dry rub. I'm going to do equal parts of all the following ingredients, which for this is going to be 1/4 cup of each. So first, we're going to start with our coffee. This is Kimera Koffee. It's our new coffee partner. Great stuff. It's going to provide a little bit of bitterness and a little bit of crunchiness on the outside. Next, salt. I'm using larger grains of salt than regular table salt. It's my favorite. Next, we're going to use a little sage, one of my favorite herbs. Next up, brown sugar. This is going to help caramelize the outside of the steak and give a little bit of sweetness, sealing in those steak juices. And last but certainly not least, our good friend paprika. Okay, so once you got all of your dry rub ingredients in the mason jar, you're just going to shake it until completion. So with your dry rub, you're going to want to make sure that you work the rub into the meat. Some people say to just leave the rub on top, don't try to work it in. But you have millions of strands of muscle fibers in here. Lots of exposed tissue, which means lots of places for this rub to get into. So we're going to work it into all these little cracks. Like I said before, I'm not going to apply too much of a rub like I would with a thicker steak because these steaks are a little bit thin and you don't want to just turn it into a giant salt fest. Okay, these are nice and rubbed in. I'm going to go throw them on the grill real quick and then we'll come back in and finish it up. Okay, these steaks are perfectly done to my liking. Now what we're going to do is we're going to let these sit for about 5 minutes and I'm going to make a little foil tent to keep some of that heat in. And this is going to help the juices get mingled back in with the rest of the meat instead of just pouring out on the plate. So if I was to eat this at a restaurant, naturally I would use a fork and a knife and all the accoutrements. But I'm at home cooking with no pants on, so let's just taste it how it is. Just like Papa used to make. Well, thanks for watching LBEB Kitchen. I'll catch you next time.